Hello, I'm Robert Hollis. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you've been enjoying the videos. If you notice, I've been doing a video now every day, sometimes more than one, since the beginning of the year 22. And the title for today is Why Are You the Way You Are? Why are you the way you are? And I'm just going to share with you my opinion of how I became the person I am today. And of course, it was basically from the people that I hung around. In my early ages, there was a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which, pretty funny that you think that that would be taught in high school, right? I think it should be taught in elementary school. I think it should be taught in every grade. But Think and Grow Rich is one of the books that are out there that was shared with me. And when I found out that this was one of the best-selling books in the world, and let me explain just something very quickly with the book. The book was basically inspired by a guy named Andrew Carnegie, which he's the one that started the industrial industry with the first to produce steel. And so Andrew Carnegie, if you go and look on Google and do your research, one of the wealthiest people of all time. In fact, there's still, according to inflation, there's still not a person that's out-earned Andrew Carnegie. So he got exposed to a book back into the early 1900s, I think 1910, from a guy named Wallace Wattles that wrote a book, The Science of Getting Rich. And so he applied the principles in that book. I always tell it's one of my favorite books. And I know people will probably post here in the link down below in the comments. If they don't, you can just go to, again, Google or Amazon, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And so when Andrew Carnegie read that book, he applied these simple principles. And when he applied these simple principles, he became the wealthiest person in the world. And so because he had that power, he basically hired a cub reporter named Napoleon Hill and basically gave him access to 500 of the wealthiest people and powerful people of the time. And what was so unique about that is, Woolworth, J.C. Penney's, Henry Ford, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, I could go on and on. I should have had the book here, presidents, people in other countries. And once he did that entire book, it took him a number of years to do that book. 500 of the wealthiest, most influential people, he found out what they had in common. He found out what made him wealthy. And one of the keys that he says in the book is you become who you hang around. You become who you hang around. That they did this study and you could take 5 of your closest friends or 5 of your closest relatives, the 5 people that you hang around the most, and find out what they make per year. And when you do that, you're going to see that, we just basically become the people we hang around. So me personally, I watched all the people that I hung around. They basically, didn't finish school and actually became laborers. So, some of my uncles were, plumbing, construction, electricians, mechanics. That's what they did. And so they would always say to me, the goal for school is to get a job. So if you could learn a skill and get good at that skill, you could get a job without completing school. So, one of my uncles went all the way to the top of a large oil company only because, he hung around people in the oil field. And so you become what you hang around. So when you hear my story, I'd never heard the word entrepreneur. I've never heard, would you like to own your own business? I've never heard of the word residual. I've never heard of the word leverage. I've never heard of OPI, OPE, OPM that's in the book. I'm going to save that for another video. But you basically just become the people you hang around. And so me, I went through a divorce in my early years, got, married right out of high school, and had my first son, Darcy. And I went to a tech school because my uncle told me that if you get a degree in something that you make more money. And so, hey, he was the wealthiest guy I know, so I did. And I went to North Dakota State School of Science, became an automotive engineer, which is a fancy name for auto mechanic, grease monkey. And now I'm hanging around other auto mechanics. So this is what I say all the time: is people always reach out to me and go, "Robert, man, you're good at this business." Man, I used to suck at this business. Because if you know an auto mechanic, they're not social butterflies. I had 3 friends. They were also on auto mechanics. And if you needed to find me, I was in the garage working on race cars, building race cars. And that's where I was. So if I wasn't working as a mechanic, I was working in the garage. So when I first got approached by this business, and they say, you need to talk to all your family and friends. So when I got a divorce, I moved to California because I just thought, that's where all the racing is. And so now I'm hanging around a different caliber of people. These are not people that race on the weekend as a hobby. These are people that make a lot of money doing what they love. I got to introduce my kids to John Force. I think he's probably a 15-time world champion now. So you start hanging around people like Kenny Bernstein. And I worked at Victory Race Cars. I got to work for a lot of NASCAR teams, a lot of NHRA, National Hot Rod Association. They had a different level of competitiveness. They also never looked at things like they couldn't do it. So they were saying, oh my God, this motor costs like, 15 or 18,000. I got to get a sponsor. I got to get good at telling my story. And then tell the people that I'm going to race, and virtually, hundreds of thousands of people are going to see it, and millions of people are going to see it on live. And if I put your name on the side of that car, people are going to see that name, and you're going to get advertising. And so you got to give me a little money for some gas and some tires and all of a sudden I seen these guys make stuff happen. Are you listening to me? And one of these people that inspired me the most was a guy named Roger Penske. So Roger Penske, I got to work for him at Monte Toyota, and Roger Penske is a billionaire. And so I all of a sudden got inspired from him because I was working for him. And that's the person that would always say, documentation beats conversation. He was always the person that I got that one saying from, that what you believe, that you believe, that you believe, that you would fight for. If it wasn't true, would you like to know? Now all of a sudden I'm hanging around people that are asking me to be a little more quality of a person, to excel. And I always tell people all the time that, people expect us to do things. If you want to know why you haven't consistently excelled in life, it's because you're hanging around a bunch of people that really don't need any more out of you. So I hung around a group of people that didn't expect me to go to college. They didn't even expect me to finish school. They sure in the hell didn't expect me to do good in school, because you don't have to be good in school to make money. So I hung around that group of people. All of a sudden, I'm hanging around people that want me to master my craft. They don't want me to be an average mechanic. They want me to be an excellent mechanic. And here's how they push me to do it. If you don't step up, you don't learn new things, you don't work here anymore. So it's an elevated expectations. The rest of my family, hey, listen, just be happy. Maybe have some kids. Make sure you take care of your wife and kids. That's it. That's it. No more expectations. Of course, you guys know my story. I got hurt. And when I got hurt on the job, now all of a sudden, I'm hanging around the wrong people. Why? Because I'm not hanging around anybody. I'm a loner. Things got so bad in my life where, my wife today, Terry, actually went back to Montana. I'm all by myself. I'm feeling sorry for myself. Oh my God, I'm not a mechanic anymore. I got workman's comp. So I think sometimes hanging around people that are average are better than being alone. So I all of a sudden, I don't know anything about personal development, and there wasn't any YouTube or anything like that. So I'm just stuck in a home with no electricity, and things got pretty dark. And all of a sudden, a guy called me up. His name is Sean Hennigan. I'll give him credit forever. And said, "Listen, I got a guy for you to meet." And I met that individual, and this was the guy that was making $62,000 a month, and a lot of people were hanging around him, and they were learning what he was doing, and they were applying what he was doing, and they were making income, and they were happy, and they were making a difference, and they were fulfilled, and they were helping other people, and I loved it. I loved hanging around a group of people that were making things happen. They were enjoying the best of life, and they were traveling and going on vacations and buying nice things for the people that they love. And I went, I like hanging around this group. So the deal is why you are who you are is really simple, is basically what you're listening to all day, what you're around all day. So when these people introduced me to a thing called personal development, I became obsessed. I didn't know there was people like Jim Rohn. I didn't know there was people like Bob Proctor. I didn't know there was people in the marketing industry like Don Fala and Big Al Schroeder. I started finding every Yoda in this industry in marketing, and I became a student of it. That was more important. If I could be a great mechanic, I'm going to be a great marketer. Wait a minute. I'm going to be a great person. I'm going to be a great father, a great husband. And it's crazy that we live in a day where all this information is available to you for free. And me and my wife were talking the other day, and it's like, wow, that there's just so many people that we know that just won't do anything. And it's like, so the reason for me doing these videos is I just want to find a lot of people that say, you know what I want for me, I want for you. Did you catch that? What I want for me, I want for you. My wife made a post on her Facebook today and said, hey, you can make a little extra money on your side hustle, if you were making $15,000 a month. And someone posted in there, you know what I mean? And said, how do you make $15,000 a month in your side hustle? And me and my wife were sort of giggling a little bit. And we went, it's Jareen Jones. So hi, Jareen. And it was funny because my first thing is, we actually make more than that. We probably average like $3,000 a day. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because I don't mean to be mean, but Scott McCoy went in there and went, network marketing! And I went, no, wrong approach, Scott. So I'm going to do a training at 1 o'clock here in 45 minutes. And I'm going to teach you how to build, it's going to be labeled how to simply get a friend. You know what I mean? Because people don't care what you know unless they know that you care. And so some of you want to pass the part of connecting with people. I had a friend of mine that I knew in high school. He didn't complete high school, and the guy is doing extremely well, owns his own business in Williston, North Dakota. We haven't talked, since high school, and it will be on Zoom, Kai. And one of the things that I want you to understand is that Tom reached out to me because of the videos I was doing, and so I'm great to be reconnected with him, and asked him to do me a huge favor. And, he created a free account, and it's going to be fun. So, you become who you hang around. If you want things to change, you got to hang around people that want more for you, expect more for you. So I learned how to be a black belt by hanging around a black belt. I learned to be a mechanic by being a mechanic. I learned to be a multimillionaire from people that are multimillionaires. And a lot of you don't believe or deserve, you don't think you deserve, or you're not enough to hang around people that are making things happen in the world. You certainly do. So I'll see you on the Zoom. It's at roberthollis.com/live at 1 o'clock Pacific time. And you figure that out in your time zone. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. If no one's giving you permission to succeed, let me be the first. I love and appreciate you.